morning, Year 2. I hope you all had a lovely weekend and are ready for another week of home learning. Make sure you've done the flashback 4 before you watch this video. Today is Monday, the 18th of January 2021, so it's the first day of a new week. Let's start practicing our counting in threes. I've covered up 3 numbers this time that I want you to try and remember. So let's get started. 3, 9, 12, 18, 21, 24, 27. Ooh, did you spot those missing numbers? Remember, if you're not sure, we just need to count on 3 from the last number. Let's go again. 3, 9, 12, 18, 21, 24, 27. Let's see if you got those numbers right. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Well done, everybody. You are getting really good at your counting in threes. So today we will be using arrays. So if you think back to the start of home learning, we looked at arrays. We're going to use them today to show that multiplication can be done in any order. So you need 3 things. You need your home learning book, a pencil, and some small objects to make arrays with. It can be anything. If you've got little counters, little beads, bits of pasta, absolutely anything you can use to make some arrays. So let's just have a quick recap. I want you to shout to me which are my rows and which are my columns. So this way or this way. Which is a row, which is a column? Hopefully you were saying that horizontal are up, vertical are up to down is a column, and horizontal are left to right is a row. Rows and columns. Well remembered. So now that we've got a bit of extra learning since we last looked at arrays, what do we now know? So looking at this array, I know that I've got 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, and 2 rows, 1, 2. And we've been calling that 3 groups of 2. I've got 3 groups with 2 little cakes in each group. And we also know how to write that as an adding sentence because we can do 2, add 2, add 2. And we can answer that because we can count in twos. 2, 4, 6. And our newest bit of learning is that we can also write that as 3 lots of 2 equals 6. 3 multiplied by 2 equals 6. I've got 3 lots of 2. So we have learned a lot since we last looked at arrays. Well done, everybody. So here I have another array. This time it is some yummy looking cakes. And I'm going to show you how I can get to the same answer using 2 different ways. The first way I could look at this that I see is I can see that I've got 1, 2 groups with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cakes in each group, which would make 2 groups of 5. And I know that I could write that as 5 add 5. 5 and 5 makes 10. 5 and 5 is 10. I could also write that as a multiplication and say 2 multiplied by 5, 2 lots of 5 is 10 because I've got 1, 2 lots of 5. That is one way that I could work out how many cakes I have in that array. But what if I decided to say, instead of 2 groups of 5, what if I looked at my rows and I said that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, so 5 groups, with 2 cakes in each group. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's still right, that's still the right answer, 5 groups of 2. I'm just looking at the rows instead of the column. So my number sentences would change a little bit. Instead of saying 5 add 5, I'm now saying 2 add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2. And that still makes 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So my number sentence has changed, but my answer has stayed the same. And now I'm saying I've got 5 lots of 2. 5 multiplied by 2. And that still equals 10. So it doesn't matter if you look at the rows or the columns. It doesn't matter if you do 2 multiplied by 5 or 5 multiplied by 2. You still get the same answer. And I know some of you found that last time we looked at arrays. It didn't matter which way round you made them. This is the same. We just now know how to write it in a number sentence. And there is a special word for that. That word is my turn, commutative. Commutative. It's a big word, and it means that multiplication can be done in any order. So it means when I'm writing my number sentence, it doesn't matter which number comes first. It doesn't matter if I look at the rows or the columns. It's a bit like when we're adding. If I was doing 1 add 2 is 3, and I swapped the numbers and said 2 add 1, I would still have 3. So that is commutative. When we're taking away, that is not commutative because we know we have to start with the biggest number. So multiplication is commutative. Have a little look at this array. What could my number sentence be for this array? Just pause, have a think. What would my number sentence be for this array? Look at the rows, look at the columns. How many lots of? Let's have a look at what you did because I think there was more than one thing that you could have written down there. If I'm looking at my rows, I can see I have 2 rows of 4. 2 rows of 4, 2 groups of 4. And I would write that as 4 add 4. And we know our doubles, 4 and 4 is 8. And if I wanted to write it as a multiplication, that means I've got 2 lots of 4, which equals 8. But some of you may not have looked at the rows, you may have looked at the columns. But you probably still came to the answer of 8. I have here 1, 2, 3, 4 columns with 1, 2 pairs in each column, which means I have 2 add 2 add 2 add 2, and that makes 2, 4, 6, 8. So my addition sentence got the same answer. My multiplication sentence would be 4 lots of 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 lots of 2, which again, we know still makes 8. It's the same as the number sentence. The answer doesn't change. So it doesn't matter if you look at the rows or the columns, you get the same answer. It doesn't matter that I've said 2 times 4 or 4 times 2, get the same answer because they are commutative. This is Timmy. Timmy likes to help us with our maths sometimes. You've probably seen him before. And he says that you can't make an array out of these pairs because 9 is an odd number. So he's taken this array and he's added 1 pair to the edge, and he says that that's not an array because it's an odd number. So I want you to get 9 objects, pause the video and see if you can make an array out of 9 objects. Great. So I've rearranged Timmy's pair. Timmy had just added 1 on the end and said that he couldn't make an array. But if you move your 9 objects around, you can make an array. I can make an array that has the same number of pairs in each row. I just had to use 3 rows, not 2 rows. So I have made 3 rows of 3. And my number sentence would then be 3 add 3 add 3. And we can count in threes, 3, 6, 9. 3 add 3 add 3 is 9. And my multiplication sentence, I've got 3 lots of 3. So hopefully this is feeling familiar. It's just like we did on Friday. If I was looking at my columns, again, I've got 3 columns with 3 pairs in each column. 3 add 3 add 3 is 9. 3 lots of 3 is 9. That doesn't change because those numbers are the same. When I swap them, it looks exactly the same. So hopefully when you were moving your objects around, you found that you could make an array out of 9 objects, and Timmy was not right. It doesn't have to be an even number. We just have to have the same in each group. Okay, have a little look at this array. Have a little think. What can you see? Can you see any equal groups? Well, this child says that they can see where am I going? There we go. This child says that they can see 2 groups of 6. Well, this child says, but I can see 6 groups of 2. This child thinks they can see 2. They think they can see 3 lots of 4, and swapping it the other way around, 4 lots of 3. And this child says, well, I can see 1 lot of 12 and 12 lots of 1. I want you to pause the video and see if those children are all correct, or just some of them correct, or none of them correct. So make that array and see if you can make those groups. Which of those children are correct? Pause now. Okay, hopefully you found that this child here, I can see 2 lots of 6. She was right. 2 groups with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each group. This child who said I can see 6 lots of 2 is correct because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups with 1, 2 in each group. They were correct. Hopefully you've seen that this child was correct as well. They've got 3 lots of 4, 1, 2, 3, with 1, 2, 3, 4 in, and swapping it the other way around because it's commutative, 4 lots of 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, 1, 2, 3 in each group. And this child down here was also correct because we've got one big group of 12, or if we count them as ones, we've got 12 ones. All those children were correct. So how cool is that? From one array, we can write that many number sentences. So now it is your turn. You have 2 jobs to do on Google Classrooms. The first job to do is to make 2 arrays for the multiplication sentences. So you will see a multiplication sentence, and I want you to draw or make an array for it. And I've done one for you so you can see what I mean. And then your second job is to have a look at an array like we just did and see how many multiplication sentences you can make from it. So just like those children did, where they split it into equal groups and found loads of different sentences, that's what I'd like you to do. And we'll see who can find the most multiplication sentences from one array. Well done, everybody. There's also a little challenge on there if you'd like to challenge yourself. See you tomorrow.